What's up, space pirates? This is your captain, the ever-charming Dr. Disaster. And it sounds like there's rumors swirling about Assassin's Creed Shadows that are pretty interesting. On the one hand, I'm hearing from some corners of the internet that one of the main reasons they are delaying the game is that so they can remove Yasuke from this game.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't believe that at all. Optically, this would destroy them with the people that they were chasing when they courted the controversy and put a person of African descent at the forefront of a game set in ancient Japan. Normal gamers, the ones that Ubisoft abandoned when they added Yasuke in the first place, I don't see them suddenly supporting the game if they made such a change. So, if Ubisoft did this, then they would bleed out the tiny corner of support that they had in the first place.
What have I done?
No, I'm much more inclined to believe this rumor here, that the game was delayed because it is buggy as hell. I think this is at least partially an overreaction to the shitty sales numbers that they saw coming from Star Wars Outlaws. They saw that people weren't buying that game, and they won't take the feedback, of course, from the gamers that they should not have featured an ugly chick version of Han Solo as the main character. No, instead they will chalk all of this up to us just being bad and evil and all that. Instead, they're taking the feedback that gamers don't want buggy games, which, if this is true, then it begs the question, why in the hell did they think it was okay to release buggy games in the first place? And the answer is, they don't understand just how pissed and over them the gaming community is.
That's because you're stupid.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter or X, or whatever we're calling it nowadays. I keep a list on there of games lousy with wokeness pinned to the account for your reference. My handle on the platform is Dr. Disaster 1. But anyhow, Assassin's Creed Shadows was delayed from November to February, and everybody is assuming that one of the big reasons for doing this is so they can hide behind the cover of Black History Month. And I'll say this, with that in mind, there is simply no way that Yasuke is getting edited out of the game. Do I think it would be a good idea to remove him? Yup. The game should have been made with an actual Japanese man as the other main character of the game in the first place. There wouldn't have been all this controversy, and they would have sold many more copies. But instead, they chose to embrace controversy, and now they're stuck trying to chart pretty murky waters. But what I know for damn sure is they, meaning Ubisoft, would never give us, the gamers who have been calling their shit out, they would never give us such an obvious win. Clearly, the game was just not performing in pre-sales numbers, as many of us have been pointing out. The only buzz with the game was people complaining about the stupid shit that Ubisoft was doing, so this was their way of avoiding the negative press while their stock price is suffering. No, instead, I expect Ubisoft will try to spin this whole thing by talking about fixing bugs. They will attempt to turn this delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows into a win, and make it seem like they really care about the players. But let's read through this article on That Park Place to fully understand this rumor being discussed about why the game was delayed. Ubisoft announced it was delaying Assassin's Creed Shadows to February 14th, 2025, earlier this week, ahead of a trading call updating its financial targets for 2024/2025. In a press release, the company announced Assassin's Creed Shadows will now be released on 14th of February 2025. While the game is feature complete, the learnings from the Star Wars Outlaws release led us to provide additional time to further polish the title. It added, "This will enable the biggest entry in the franchise to fully deliver on its ambition, notably by fulfilling the promise of our dual protagonist adventure with Naoe and Yasuke bringing two very different gameplay styles." Furthermore, it shared, "We are departing from the traditional season pass model. All players will be able to enjoy the game at the same time on February 14th, and those who pre-order the game will be granted the first expansion for free." It concluded, "The game will mark the return of our new releases on Steam day one."
Ah, so you come crawling back, you cheap sack of shit.
That's pretty interesting and funny to me that Ubisoft is having to go back to Steam. This is quite a departure from their BS that they spouted earlier this year, talking about how we the gamers have to get comfortable not owning their games. Funny how dog shit sales numbers have really changed their tune. But we're going to skip down a bit in the article to where they quote a Brazilian YouTuber who says, "In September 2024, Ubisoft had just launched and seen Star Wars Outlaws flop, which was a game that they expected would completely explode into being one of the biggest titles of the year, and from the looks of it, it sold just okay. It sold like the least a Star Wars game should sell when there's no public interest in it, right? And part of the problem was that the game was completely bugged at launch. Ubisoft even had to apologize to the fans and promise that they are working on urgent fixes for performance problems on all platforms." Yeah, they're taking gamer feedback here and noticing that we hate the fact that Ubisoft games, despite being super expensive, are always released as very buggy. So that's at least something. But I suspect that this is all a strategic method of delaying the bad sales numbers that are bound to happen. On the other hand, they can only delay it so far because their fiscal year ends March 31st, so they have to try to squeak in Assassin's Creed Shadow sales in order to pad their numbers and try to salvage whatever they can of this very bad year. Keep in mind that the company has been operating at a loss for the entire decade so far. They have lost over 400 million euros up to this point, and 2024 was supposed to be the big year that all the losses were for. Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed Shadows, those were supposed to turn their fortunes around, but it hasn't happened, and they are now grasping at straws to save the company. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of Ubisoft and this game into the comment section below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.